Okay, we are live here for quarantine Q&A, and tonight we're going to talk about our favorite subject ever happening right now. What do you think it is, Becky?
Oh, it's e-learning. I'm so excited.
So how's e-learning going in your
E-learning
household?
is awful. It's not only time consuming, but teaching a kindergartner and a first grader two separate subjects at the same time is about to make me want to jump off a bridge.
Yep. It's a lot. It's a lot. So we have decided to let's talk about this. Let's get into some e-learning and let's have some discussion on it. So if you guys have any comments when you join us tonight, let us know, or questions, and we hope to be able to answer them. Okay, so before we get started, I'll put it on. Get my mouse going here. We are going to. Oh, did you see this?
Cute little lady.
This is so funny. Here's Sue. She's 31 years old. She's been doing e-learning for the past 5 days. Keep it up, Sue. That's how I feel a lot of times at the end of the day. Any hands raised? Anybody else?
Absolutely.
I feel like I've aged a ton trying to teach 3 kids. Okay, so we thought it'd be fun that we do a random question to start these live streams. So, Becky, you're on today. You have to pick a number between 1 and 100, and I have a list of questions here, and I will pick that number. Okay?
Awesome. Okay.
Let's hear it.
Let's do number 23.
23. Oh, okay. What was your first job?
Let's see. First paid job?
And either one. And did you like it or dislike it?
Let's see. My first real job was Pizza King. I worked at the Oxford Pizza King. That was my first paid job.
That's where we go for basketball. We're in your little career zone. I didn't know.
Right? Little Otterburn. Yep.
All right. That's awesome.
So I worked at Oxford mostly, but Otterburn some, and it was a lot of fun. I loved it. And you got free dinner every night.
Pizza. Best thing ever.
Yep. Can't beat it.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. So our poll results are in, and motivation is the winner. So we put a poll out every Wednesday, and we're going to talk about which one you guys choose. And this week, after asking what the hardest part of e-learning is it content, teaching that content, right? That algebra, or whatever you have going on in your household, or is it motivating your kid to want to do the work? And you guys have any comments along the way, let us know. We will pull those up and answer them. So motivation was 83% of what people picked was motivation. So let's talk about this.
I would agree with that.
Yes, it is very hard.
Not only motivation for them, but for me as well.
Yes, that is very true. E-learning day. Okay, so what do you guys think of when you hear the word motivation? Does anybody have anything that they could comment on? When you hear that word motivation, what do you think of? What about you, Becky? When you hear motivation, what do you think?
The ability to try to do something. To try to get somebody, what can I do to motivate them to want to do it?
Okay, that's great. So here's some things that I hear a lot when I'm talking with parents is it's the drive to do something. It's the attitude toward a task. It's what's important to you, right? A lot of that inner stuff. And, there's a lot of times that we want to say, my kid is just not motivated. He doesn't want to do it. Okay, I hear a lot when I'm in the schools doing behavior consulting is they're just not motivated. Okay, but what does that really mean? So we're going to talk about this today and dig into it a little bit more. But here's some of the common things that I hear about the word motivation. All right, so let's talk about motivation. Before we do, we need to kind of put the brakes on and we need to back up a little bit, okay? So we need to understand kind of how motivation unfolds and not just kind of take it for the word we are right now. So let's kind of back up a little bit and discuss what's going on with motivation. So what we've already said is that it's an established relationship. Okay, I like this little image right here, this little stick guy in love with her. Okay, there's a relationship happening before you even say anything. Okay,
Right.
things are already connected together. There's already a bond happening before you even say that phrase. Unless you use a new language every single day, not in my household. Okay, some new words
No.
might come about, but as far as new language, that's not happening. So for the majority of us, there is already a commitment to the word and phrase that are saying. So the crazy thing is sometimes you don't even have to say anything and
Right.
motivation is happening. So let's look at this right here.
Right. I get the folders out and put them on the table, and they run to the basement.
Out, I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a picture of a chicken right here. Okay. Why in the heck am I showing you a picture of a chicken and what does this have to do with anything? Okay, it's because when you guys see the image of a chicken, you already are drawing your own opinions and thoughts and feelings. All right, if you would have shown me a picture of a chicken a month ago, I would have thought, oh, cool, a chicken. But now, Becky and I were both chicken farmers. Okay,
Correct.
we got chickens now. I see chickens completely different. I have my own sort of relationship with how I see a chicken. Okay, I'm feeding them, I'm taking care of them. But you might think, gross, a bird. Or you might think, hey, that's what I had for dinner tonight. Okay, so this is just a picture and you already have thoughts and feelings occurring. So a lot of things are happening before you even say something. All right. So where are you going with this, Jenna? Why are we showing chickens and where are you going? What I want you guys to understand is every experience that you have with your environment, whether it be with your words or the physical environment, changes your relationship with it. Okay. So, for example, when you say to your kids, hey, turn off the TV, before you even say your next sentence, the kid is already thinking, alert, alert, worsening events are about to occur, alert, alert. Not to mention you are just shutting off one of the highest reinforcements. So there's no way that anything follows after it's time to shut off the TV is going to be something better for them. So you're already creating a situation that is super negative, that their increase of escape has just escalated tenfold. Okay.
Right.
All right. So let's go ahead and get back to this word motivation and see how this all connects a little bit. All right. So what I want you guys to understand is behavior is happening before you even speak of the word e-learning or homework. Okay. It is in the environmental contingencies. So there's like a smear of things. So I have a picture of water or a finger painting. All right. I have a 4-year-old and he likes to finger paint. And I think of things just all colors smear together. And that's sort of what's happening in our environment a little bit. Okay. Some colors are going to stand out more than others, but there's sort of a smearing of what's happening. So when you say it's time to work, there's a lot of feelings and situations already occurring for a kid. So the important thing I want you guys to understand is that motivation, the problem isn't in motivation of the task. It's what's happening before the task even starts. So what exactly is motivation? Motivation is the button on your washing machine. Okay. In order for that washer to start and maybe start again and maybe start again and again, if you're in my household, we wash things kind of multiple times because I forget to put it in the dryer. Does that happen to you, Becky?
No, never.
Oh man, just me.
Oh man, with 7 people,
never, huh?
It just tends to. Maybe you just forget to do laundry.
Yours just continues all the time.
Right.
Taped down.
Right.
Okay. So in order for motivation to start is you have to push that button. It has to be activated. Okay. In order to activate that button, we're going to talk about a few tricks to get that going. But motivation is the activation of behavior. All right. That's what gets behavior started. If you don't activate that behavior, motivation isn't going to start. All right. And if you guys could get one takeaway from what I'm trying to teach here tonight is motivation is not what's inside of you. Oh my gosh, that's a totally different way to look at things, right? Like we're all told what motivates inside of you. but I'm trying to give you guys a new image of this so you can learn how to be able to create a better environment and be able to increase motivation. You can do it on your own, all right? So motivation is not what's inside of you, but it's how you set up the environment, all right? When I am out shopping, maybe not now, but before at Payless or Kroger, and I see a Starbucks sign, I'm super going to be motivated at the availability of coffee, all right? I'm going to want that coffee now. So the environment has set the stage for me to want that item. And you guys can do that too at home with how you set up your learning environment, is you can set the stage for it to a child to maybe not want it, but be able to set it up in a way that they want to get through it to be able to earn things that they want. So let's kind of look at this a little bit.
And we kind of did a funny video of this. I don't know, what was that, a month or so ago?
Yes.
Before? We kind of did a really funny video. If you want to go back on our Facebook page and check that out, it's anything. I mean, it's informative, but it's also pretty hilarious.
It is. Our kids are in it, and I'm showing you like an example of how that should look. So you'll have to check that out.
Absolutely.
All right. So the good news is you can make changes to increase motivation. So some of you guys are saying, no, I'd just rather say my kid's not motivated. I don't want to be a part of this. Okay. And the other half of you are like, really? I can? What can I do to make that change there? I can set the stage to make some changes. So let's look at this. So there's two things I want you guys to look at to be able to make changes in sort of your environment of e-learning and motivation. The first thing I want you to look at, in a behavior, we sort of have these words that we toss around when we think of motivation. And one thing is we want to either saturate a behavior. Okay, so that is at lunchtime, I'm saturated. I'm not really going to want food anymore. Okay, but at 10 o'clock, I have deprivation. I'm really hungry and I'm motivated to eat. So you want to look at those two situations to be able to create some motivation. You have some power in that. So if your kid has unlimited access to being on video games, you're not saturating that behavior. Therefore, you're not going to increase that motivation to want to play a video game. Okay, so you want to look at that balance right there. And if those two things aren't going on, you also have this escape value. So if you're saying things like shut off the TV, let's come work, the value of escape may increase. And that's the part we don't want to happen. We want to increase the value of some of the known reinforcers that your kid has at home, such as video games, going outside. Okay, so those are just a few examples. So the first thing we want to do is create the availability to earn a task. And don't do task completion, all right? A lot of us are like, if you get 5 worksheets done, then you can earn this. I want you guys to get away from that and start rewarding and providing reinforcement to the things that are related to the learning of behavior. Hey, I really like how you came right to the table and sat down to work. Hey, I like how you are trying really hard at this problem that's hard, okay? Those are the things that are going to increase the behavior you want to see. And what I kind of posted today was whatever you reinforce today is what's going to show up tomorrow. So maybe you have this quick, like, big lecture, pulled out the mom card mode, and yeah, you're going to get this done. It might have worked for the short term, but you're not setting things up to work next week or the next day or a few weeks from now, because we still have till May doing this. So
May 15th.
We still got some time on this. So you can get things to work in the short term with some of those threats and briberies, but those are not going to work in the long term. And we kind of need some long-term approaches to be able to increase this motivation and positive behavior. All right. The other things related to your environment is change what you're doing right now. And again, we talked about this a little bit in a video that we made, but if remember we kind of discussed earlier here, that relationship, if you are taking your same habit of, you're saying, okay, I'm going to be really positive today. I got the environment switched. Here we go. And you're like, shut off the TV. It's time to, that relationship's already set up. Okay. You've already had so many incidents of saying that phrase and it leading to something negative that you can't switch that around because you're fighting against learned behavior. So you got to reset the tone of how things look and how it's set up to recreate sort of the new way that you're going to approach it. Okay. Let's see what else I have on here. Oh, reinforcement. That is the next thing. And I'm not talking sticker charts and schedules and Skittles and candy bars, okay? I'm talking, there is a lot of different things out there that you can reinforce behaviors that's not strictly based on stickers and schedules, okay? That is not how I work things when I look at behavior. I look for things that work that are going to increase it. If it's reinforcement, it's going to increase the behaviors you want to see. If it's not reinforcement, it's not going to go anywhere, okay? So that's sort of a little bit of a trick to get things to be more effective, is looking for ways that you can reinforce behavior. And we have a ton of ideas and tricks to use reinforcement in that way. Okay, so we want to kind of get to you guys and see what sort of questions you have on behavior and motivation and e-learning. And I know I talk really, really fast, so post a comment or a question that you guys have, and we'll pull it up here, and we can talk about this a little bit more. Or if I said something and you're like, can you expand on that? Or what the heck are you talking about? Like, let us know, and we can talk about it here.
So I have a question.
Okay.
When we were setting up our environment, how early are you setting up your environment? Like, is it the night before? Hey, tomorrow's e-learning day. We have to be, because literally when I pull out the folders in the morning after we eat breakfast, I don't want to do this. How long is this going to take? Will you help me? I need it now. How early I guess, is it prepare them?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's the day. You need to be ready. How do you go about, or how early do you set that up?
So I wouldn't talk about things the night before that isn't super positive, unless your kid loves to do e-learning. I know there's a lot of kids that are loving this. They're hanging their pictures up. They're loving it. So if they don't have that sort of attitude and you don't have things set up that way, I wouldn't bring it up the night before, because that might cause a little bit of an anxious situation. So on Tuesday and Tip Tuesday, I said, don't make schedules. And I know that's like totally against what everything you're hearing, but the only way that I create a schedule for a kid is if it shows them when they get their time. That's the only way a schedule works. So when I make a schedule in my day, I am looking at when lunch is, okay? When do I get to, check my Facebook, or when do I get to do this? My schedule is not followed strictly by I'm going to write, this behavior plan, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. The schedule ends at the spot of reinforcement. So that's what I want you guys to look at. Basically, your kid is waking up every day going, what's in it for me? The same thing when you present e-learning. What's in it for me? So when you start that e-learning day, I would set up a way of talking about what they're going to do when it's their time. So such as saying, hey, this afternoon, we are going to go out for a big kickball game. All right. So I want you to think about, where do you want to play out in the yard, or what ball that we're going to use, or, who's on whose team, but we're going to have a big kickball game going. It's going to be super fun. So let's go ahead and use your reinforcement schedule. Maybe it is, let's go ahead and work you could do it time-based, 30 minutes. You could do, hey, let's earn this many items, and then we can cash it in for something. Just set it up in a way where it's achievable for the kid. So if one of your kids maybe can only work for 10 minutes and that's his duration of time, then stop at 8 minutes, because you want to stop where you're successful instead of pushing through to where you need to be. And if you go by task completion, I guarantee you your best behavior is going to be at the last problem, because that's when it's increased the most. Like, oh, okay, I'll do this last one because I'm almost done. So we want to reinforce that duration of getting things done. All right. What other questions do you guys have about e-learning? It's super tough. I mean, I got 3 doing it, and I'm totally being pushed to my limits on understanding and when to use some behavior techniques and when they're getting some mom mode in. Okay. So it's definitely hard to figure out what to use and when to use it. So, post a question or a comment, and we'll see if we can answer it and see what we can figure out together.
Right. And feel free, if you watch us later, to go ahead and we'll get to your questions. if you're watching it after the fact too.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so we have a question on here. It's, how can we tackle those tasks that they dread? Okay, that's a really good one. So my kid dreads anything with writing. If he has to sit down and write, he dreads it. And most likely, if a kid is dreading it, is one, it takes too long, two, it's too hard, or three, they are having to leave something that is fun for them. All right, those are usually sort of the three reasons. So I try to figure out what that big function is, right? So writing is hard for my kid. He doesn't really like to do it. He doesn't have that good motivation to do it. So I create a situation for him to be successful with it. So I might start out with a starter sentence for him. So I might say, okay, your first paragraph needs to look like this, and we're going to write 3 more. So then he has a little bit of a guidance of how this is going to look, and then he knows when it's going to end. But if he gets an assignment that says, write about your favorite thing to do while you're home on e-learning, that is just so overwhelming to him to think about what the steps are and what's going on. So break it down for them and create it into something achievable that they can do, that they'll have the confidence to do, and then reward that right away. So when they have that done, you know what, why don't you go ahead and take a 10-minute break and, watch, 5 minutes of a YouTube video or something. So reward that behavior right away when they accomplish what they're after. But I would set it up so they can be successful, because most of the time when a kid's dreading a task, it's because it's either too long or it's too hard. And being able to sort of meet that need a little bit more is going to create that obstinance to not want to do it.
Right. And I feel like when the question, like you said, when it's so broad, what do you enjoy about e-learning? Well, then I know mine's brain goes this way, that way, this way, that way. And to be able to write it down and give him like bullet points to know that you need to focus on this and this part and here. And even in math, they're learning how to subtract and add double digits. Well, I kind of draw a line and show, where the stuff goes, and he just finds it so much easier. And then you watch him and he does the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, it's hard for sure.
And find a spot where they can be successful at, right? So for my son's doing the IXL, and it's hard for him to like think, to type and do it. So sometimes I will read it off and he will tell me the answer and I'm typing it in, and I just have a better fluency than he does, even though he's answering it correctly. And then I can pass off and say, here, you do the last 5, where you're sort of
I agree with
that increase of positiveness, and they can sort of see. A lot of times it's, when is the end and how do I get to the end? And if a kid can answer those questions of when his reinforcers are available, a good percentage of the time you're going to have more positive behavior and motivation.
Right. Yeah. IXL is hard.
It is. And to count it on that screen, like my eyes, like.
Yeah. And so especially for their age group, they not only they're learning to figure out how to read, but now we have to read and interpret the question.
Yeah.
And then type it in. It's hard.
I think you have to ask yourself too is, what am I trying to accomplish here? If it's a writing task, then set it up for them in a way that is going to be successful for them to write how they are skilled to write. If it's a math situation, then who cares if I type it in if they're doing the problem? I mean, what are we trying to accomplish here? And all the other steps, don't be afraid to aid in that, because teaching them in a way that's increasing confidence is going to bring you tenfold to how this is going to look in May 15th or May 10th. But if you allow them to struggle through it, the second you say what we're going to do next, then that is where you're going to have that, I need to escape this, I need to heighten my behavior, and you don't want to fight against that. So find a spot to be successful and then increase as you start to get that success.
Anybody else have any questions? These are all awesome.
They are. Thank you guys for talking with us. So if you
Yeah.
have anything else, we love chit-chatting, and you can tell we're kind of talkers. So feel free to shoot us something, and maybe
we are there with you. Oh, we are there with you. This was kind of my motivating. Just like, well, what do you want to talk about? And I'm like, oh, I got a topic. I got a topic.
Yes, I have had several questions in our inbox going, hey, we have people needing more information on e-learning. What do you got? What's out there? So I feel like this is something we could run for a while and really pick different parts of it. You know, how to set it up. What should it look like? You know, kind of focus on motivation. But the biggest thing I wanted to get across to you guys today is motivation isn't something in the kid. It's something that you can create and how you set up your environment.
Right. Absolutely. You do such a good job at it.
Oh, not always. That's my kids.
Well, they're your kids. That's different. Yeah, maybe tomorrow you can teach mine and I'll teach yours.
Oh, we'll switch. Switch.
Except I gain one. I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah, then you have 3. Oh, shoot. All right. Well, if you guys have a question, feel free. We'll pull it up out of the comment box. If not, let us know what would be good for you guys to talk about next week. If it's more on e-learning, like, hey, could you expand on this, what you were saying? Or, you know, this is a spot I'm really having trouble with. Could you go over this next week? Let us know. And we can be able to sort of pull that and create our week around that. So we're hoping to pick one sort of focus each week to try to give you guys some more details and ideas. And if we can help at all, you know, shoot us a message. And, you know, we've gotten several, so it's been great to be able to reach out to, you know, families we've worked with before, but then also new families too. So we also have a few spots in our social skills group. If you have any kids that are wanting to learn more about emotions, we can add you guys to that list in the form, and we can work on that next week. So we're going to have some more stuff rolling out in that social skills, sort of our first approach at it, and it went pretty good. So
yes, our first class was so fun.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any new questions. So last chance, chit chat with us. If not, we better get back to our chickens, right?
Yeah, right. Gotta go take care of my chickens. I love how I got this for responsibility for my kids, and I'm the chicken herder.
Yeah, you're the chicken lady.
Yeah. Hey, and don't forget our last slide.
Oh, we have a last slide?
We do.
Woo! Yes, we're on Instagram. If you guys aren't on Instagram, follow us.
Please go follow us because we're going to link it all. Hopefully. So go ahead.
No, I was going to tell you. Do you want to tell them about the giveaway if they get to 500?
Go 500
ahead. Likes? You tell them.
Okay. So if we get to 500 likes on our Facebook page, we're going to do a free t-shirt or sweatshirt. We haven't quite decided. Giveaway to somebody. Yep. So that's super exciting. And we're just so happy that we've gotten so many new followers, and it's so fun.
It is fun. We're having fun.
We are having fun.
Okay. Well, anything else, Becky?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Okay. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. We'll be back at 8 o'clock next Thursday.
Absolutely. Right. Thank y'all.
See ya. Bye.